world. Welcome to another episode of PonderCast. We're starting a series of spotlighting Riley High School graduates, what their favorite stuff was about Riley, what their favorite stuff about South Bend was, and where are they now? So many times we teach and then they graduate, we don't hear from them, but when they come back, it's so great to hear their great stories and just, it makes us so proud. So in this episode, I've got a young man named Zach Stewart who I had the opportunity to teach and work with while he was in South Bend. Can't wait for you guys to check this out. One of the first ones up is Zach Stewart. And Zach, when did you graduate, Riley?
I graduated in spring of 2017.
Where are you and what are you doing these days?
I'm at Purdue University, West Lafayette, and I'm majoring in political science right now with minors in communication and computer and information technology.
Just want to ask you what your favorite things were about Riley, and then kind of what are you looking forward to in your future? So just kind of get to know your favorites. What was your favorite class in high school?
Probably civil engineering was my favorite.
Yeah, why civil?
Architecture was always something that just kind of popped out to me. I was really interested in it, and I enjoyed taking the class. And it dealt with a lot of the architecture, but it also had, the civil engineering and all the structural nitty-gritty stuff that goes into all that building. So not only was it a really good engineering course, but it was also something that I found interesting and exciting.
And what were some of the things that you were involved in high school, like sports and clubs?
So sports, I played golf junior and senior year. I was in the orchestra all 4 years. I was also a member of the National Honor Society. And then in my last year at Riley, I founded the Engineering Ambassador Program.
Yep, and we will talk about that because that's still just rocking and rolling.
Awesome.
All right, what do you think some of the strengths of Riley High School are?
The strengths of Riley High School, I think that, well, first of all, I think that it's really good that Riley's a big school and it's incredibly diverse so that you're going to meet a lot of people when you're going to school there, and you're going to get to learn a lot, not just in the classroom, but about other people. Riley has a lot going on in terms of clubs, in terms of sports, in terms of academics, not just the typical classrooms, but you've got computer science, you've got engineering. So there's a lot there at Riley. You can pretty much do whatever you want to do there. And I think that's really great for students, and I think there's a lot of learning opportunities there.
And so you mentioned you're doing poli-sci and computer informatics?
Information technology.
All right. And you studied computer science, or you studied engineering while you were at Riley. So what classes do you think kind of helped you with your focus most?
Well, I think in terms of the computer stuff, I wasn't in the computer program at Riley. I was in the engineering program. So in terms of computers, I think digital electronics was a really great class. But I think the engineering program as a whole is really good at preparing you for a lot of different things, even if you're not planning on going into engineering, because of the PLTW curriculum and everything that it brings into it, and the project-based learning and its focus on skills other than just the content that you're learning, a lot of the soft skills and other stuff that the classes teach you. And so I think just the program as a whole is really good to prepare you for a lot of different things that you might go into. So even though engineering is very different from political science, I still think that Riley prepared me really well for Purdue.
Good. And are you doing, I know your high school career, because I was one of your teachers, but are you still doing a lot of group work in college?
Yeah, absolutely. The computer and IT class that I'm in right now, we're working in groups on our lab. This is CNIT 242. It's network administration. It's a pretty hard class, and there's a lot of labs going on, and we're dealing with Windows Active Directory and enterprise networking and large-scale computer type of stuff. And so we work in groups and labs. We do group work in a bunch of my other classes too, poli-sci and the computer and IT stuff. So group work is definitely something that's important to be able to do, and you're going to do a lot of it.
All right. What were some of your favorite projects in high school?
I think my favorite project was probably the West Point Bridge Designer project. I thought that was fun to get to. I mean, it had a lot of different components to it. So you got to play around with the computer software and make up your own designs. You had, you were given design constraints. It has to do this, has to do that. You had to deal with, a budget that you're given. So a lot goes into it, and I thought that was really fun to do.
From your high school career, you had some different summer jobs, not your traditional like lifeguarding or babysitting or mowing lawns that a lot of high school students do. What did you do in the summer?
So for 3 years, I was an intern with Notre Dame on the Bowman Creek Educational Ecosystem. So for anyone who doesn't know, that project deals with blighted neighborhoods. It started with a focus on the southeast neighborhood, which is where Riley's located. It has since branched out to other places around town. At the beginning, the focus was on the Bowman Creek in the southeast neighborhood. And as I understand, it's still a heavy focus of the project, even though it's branched out to do other things. So we were focused on things that we could do to improve the neighborhood around the creek and improve the creek itself. So I worked on projects involving, we installed rain gardens around the community. Specifically, I worked on the internet presence of the project. So I got YouTube and Facebook started up, and we had a website and we had a blog going for a while. And then later on in my third year, I worked with a team. We talked about teamwork. There was a group of 3 of us, and we worked on putting together a white paper for the proposal for daylighting the creek at the Riley High School campus that would help guide future projects and maybe someday help daylight the creek.
And that's like the dream. It'll happen. Some city engineers, friends of mine, they actually read it, and they said,
all right,
who did this? And I said, some high school and college interns, and they were amazed by that. So
that's really exciting.
Yeah, you did a great job, and
Thanks.
it'll come forward.
All right.
And just in case anybody is listening, we're going to put some links down below because they are taking applications for Bowman Creek and Educational Ecosystem right now for the 2020.
Cannot recommend it high enough.
Yep. So, and when you started, were you still in high school?
Yes. So I started after my freshman. So my first year was between sophomore year and junior year of high school, and then I did it for 3 summers.
That's great. And how did you feel being like a high school student working with college students?
Well, I'm not going to lie. At first, it was a little intimidating. I mean, these are Notre Dame students who are actually studying engineering and sustainability and all sorts of these things, and they're super duper smart. But after a while, I just felt like I fit in, and we worked well together. And like I said, my third year working on the daylighting project and the white paper, it was me and then 2 other college students, and we worked together great. I thought it was good that I had the perspective of being from the community and going to school at Riley, and then they had some more advanced experience in some of their college classes. So we all worked together really well.
Yeah, and I think with Zach and all the other great interns we've had at Bowman Creek, just the collaboration between Riley High School and Notre Dame has been amazing in the last 5 to 6 years. It's just been one of our best assets, and we're having a lot of fun with it too. They're just great students working together.
It's a great learning experience, and it's a fun time.
Yeah. And so what do you think, you brought up your favorite project. What's your proudest activity or project that you've had, not just at Riley, it could be at Purdue also? Or
Can I give you three?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So at Riley, the ambassador program, I thought that was great, and it's been great to see all of the fantastic things that they're still doing. At Bowman Creek, it was that white paper, and at Purdue, it has been serving in the student senate. I was initially going to study computer and information technology, and I found out maybe that's not what I want to major in. So I switched from CIT. Now that's my minor, and I'm majoring in political science. And so I wanted to get involved on campus to try to, to leave it a little bit of a better place. And I found it. And I found out about Purdue student government and went to a call out, got some information about the Senate, and I decided to run for office. And so I am in the middle of my second year serving the College of Liberal Arts.
And that's like perfect because it goes right along with your major.
It does, yeah.
I mean,
most people in student government are either majoring or minoring in political science or communication.
Yeah, it's good experience for you guys. Okay, so let's kind of backtrack. You brought up ambassador program, and so please explain what that is.
So it started as an idea my senior year. It was just kind of floated around for a little while. What if we put together a group of students who go out and represent the engineering program at events, kind of serve as ambassadors type of thing. And I had the privilege of working with Riley's prior magnet coordinator, Matt Modlin, and I was his office aide, and I said, well, let's just do it. Let's put it together and make it happen. So we got together a group of students we thought would be really good representatives of the program. We, started having meetings. We went out to events, to magnet fairs, to middle schools, to everywhere we could recruit students, and including events at Riley, back to school nights, those type of things, and just serve as the faces of the program and try to recruit students to come to Purdue. And I think it went really well. It was really fun to do, and it was a great time working with all of my fellow students, and I think we all had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like one of those things, like all high schools have great students doing so many great things, and Riley is one of those places. But you just had the idea of being like, listen, let's start recognizing these students a little bit more, and just calling it the Riley Ambassadors, which is like perfect, because that's exactly what any good high school needs is, the marketing for schools and billboards and whatever. But it's really the students who are the best ambassadors.
Yeah, we wanted to get students out there and have a group of students be the face of the school.
Yeah, and I can't thank you enough for getting that started. And now it's in its third year, and we're just rocking and rolling. And the kids it just gives them a perfect leadership role, and it gives them a great voice. Because I hate to tell you this, but we just had our first rewards breakfast with the ambassadors. They kind of led it, and so. I know. Sorry, we're a little late. I'll stay up, man. I'll make it up for you. But like our ambassadors now, the end of the 9 weeks, they put together like a rewards breakfast, and so we were flipping flapjacks and making pancakes.
Nice.
So I owe you some pancakes or donuts, man.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Another thing that I know your parents are very proud of, and I'm very proud of you for this, and you are too, but you haven't mentioned it, is your scholarship that you have working at Purdue right now. Can you please share? You mentioned you were a golfer, but like I'm a hacker. You're a true golfer. So what are you doing?
So I am an Evans Scholar. For those who don't know what that is, it is a full tuition and housing scholarship for golf caddies. So I started caddying back at the South Bend Country Club a couple of years ago. I don't know if it was my sophomore year. I think it was 2015 I started caddying. And, caddying's not a hard job, but it's just something you got to be dedicated to. You got to go out real early every Saturday and Sunday morning and hope to get a job. So I did that for a couple of years, and I applied, and I got the scholarship. And now I'm going to Purdue for free. And we live in this really awesome scholarship house together, because that's one of the pillars of the scholarship is fraternal living. So everyone lives together, and we all work together on, maintenance and upkeep of the house, and we have events. coming up pretty soon, we're going to have our Secret Santa before the end of the semester. So it's really pretty cool to get to live with other golf caddies all together in a big house like this.
You could design a high school class. What would it be? What would it be called? What would you do?
I'd call it Leadership Fundamentals, I think. And the focus would be leadership, of course, but that wouldn't be the only thing it would cover. It would be a pretty general course on leadership, listening, communication, how to work effectively with other people, and just kind of cover a lot of the really important, what I call soft skills that you're going to use no matter what you study, no matter what you do, because your studies are really important, but the other thing that's important is how you can communicate with people, how you can lead other people, how you can allow yourself to be led by other people, and using all of those skills to advance you in your career or elsewhere in life.
Right. Yeah. And you said soft skills and that's what I called them, I think, when you were in my classes. And now I've kind of switched to calling them essential skills.
Mm-hmm. They are. Yeah.
They're just those skills that we need to have and you mentioned it, just to kind of get along in life, whether you're an engineer or computer scientist or political, in politics, like it's just something
everyone needs them. And I can't stress how important they are.
Right. And do you think at Riley, like you were taught that?
I do. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I think that the PLTW courses there sort of integrate that in a way that sometimes students don't know that that's a part of the curriculum in terms of project-based learning and collaboration with team members. So yeah, I think the courses at Riley do that a lot. And that was one of the best parts about my experience at Riley.
And while you were at Riley, you weren't just a student in the classrooms. You actually got to go to Indianapolis and go to the Project Lead the Way Summit. And you presented with a couple of your peers. Who did you present with?
Nathan Wilkowski, and he was a grade ahead of me, and Tess Goshi, who was in my class.
And what did you guys talk about to like teachers? You got teachers.
We just kind of gave a pretty general overview of the program with Mr. Modlin, just talking, kind of advertising Riley and talking about the programs that we do, some of the projects we have in the classes and the PLTW program that we have at our school, and how it works for us. I know Nathan and Tess talked about some of the stuff that they had been working on. I talked about the Bowman Creek project, and we had a table set up for several hours for just a general session, but we also had time during breakfast one morning where we actually gave a presentation to one of the breakout sessions.
And that was awesome. And that even turned into an interview by someone who came up to South Bend Riley, and you got to interview him. Who was that?
Yes, that was the CEO of Project Lead the Way, Dr. Vince Bertram. And so something that I want. He came right after we went down for the summit. He came up because he met with all the students that were at the summit, and he said, I want to come to all of your classes, all of your schools, and talk with you and see what you got going on. And so he did. Very soon afterwards, he came to Riley. But then after that, and then I got the ambassador program started, and I wanted him to come back to meet the ambassadors to see all the new cool stuff that we'd been doing and kind of be a cool experience for all the ambassadors that we have, for people who hadn't seen him before or were new to the school, to get to meet him and talk about what he's got going on, and he can learn about what we've got going on. And so I was able to arrange a visit for him to come back again a second time. And he talked to students. Tess and I sat down and we interviewed him one-on-one. And I believe that interview is on your YouTube still saved.
Yep. We'll link that below.
And he also did a little professional development session with some educators from the area as well. So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah. And this is what I love about teaching at Riley is like some of these students like Zach are just like, I've got this idea, and they voice it and we're like, that is a great idea. You can do it. What do you need from us? And then we just let them go. And like Zach said, he just brought Dr. Vince Bertram to Riley twice in it was under 10 months. It was just to kind of start wrapping this up, because I know you've got to study for some tests, and I've got to get prepared for maybe some snow days. I don't know. We'll see. All right. What would you tell your 14-year-old self?
I guess I would say don't be afraid to talk to people. I've always been introverted, and so I never wanted to talk to my teachers. I never wanted to talk to my peers. I never wanted to get involved. But doing all of those things is really important. Talking to your teacher could be the difference between going to the Project Lead the Way Summit in Indianapolis and not. Or in college, if you talk to your professor, it could be getting the difference between that 89.9% or them bumping you up to an A-. It could be the difference between just sliding by or going out and getting involved and joining the student senate and running for election. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to get involved and to talk to people.
That's awesome. And then what do you think your best definition of success is?
I think I have two definitions of success. One part is when you can do something and when it's all said and done, you can be proud of it, be proud of what you've done, and feel as if other people have benefited something from that. Doesn't matter how they benefit, they just get something from it. So you can be proud of what you've done. I think another way to define success is when other people respect you and other people want to approach you and talk to you and listen to you. I think that makes you a successful person. That makes you a respected person.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I am, as a teacher, as a dad, I am so proud of you. And as a coworker, because I was a coworker with Zach at Bowman Creek for so many years. So I'm so proud of him.
Thank you.
And so if anybody, well, I guess first, would you like to share some social media with you if some people want to get in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to put it all out there.
All right. So if you want to follow Zach on Twitter, you can find him at
Stewart574.
All right. Anywhere else that we can find you?
I think Instagram is ZStewart98.
All right. We'll make sure that those links are right below so you can ask questions about Riley, about Purdue, about Bowman Creek.
Absolutely.
About the ambassador program. He's still so involved. Like
follow the ambassador program on Twitter too, at Riley Reap.
There you go. Yep. All right. And wait, just real quick, one last question. With this political science degree, what's next?
So right now, just recently, I submitted an application for an internship down at the Indianapolis State House for next semester. So I haven't heard back yet, so fingers crossed on that. So that's legislative work, which is one of the things I'm interested in. The other field I found really interesting is political communication, which is why I recently added a communications minor to my program. And back in the spring, I had an internship with the Center for C-SPAN Scholarship and Engagement here on campus, which works to bring C-SPAN archives into the classroom. So that was really interesting to me. And I spent 2 weeks in D.C. on a Maymester study abroad program at the C-SPAN headquarters, learning about the future of political communication.
We need smart people in politics, and that's why we need you. All right. So thank you so much for being on, Zach.
No problem.
Wish you the best.
Thank you very much.